been a few years since I moved from Sydney to rural Tasmania.
Hi there.
Hey, how you going, mate? And what started as an experiment has turned out to be incredibly life-changing. I came down here with virtually nothing, and now I've got a family, a farm, a whole bunch of great new friends, and this real sense of community. Sadie and I are loving putting down roots in Cygnet. And despite what we've done so far, even now it just feels like the start of one whole new adventure. Hey guys.
Hi, Matthew.
Hey, Matthew.
Sorry I'm late.
And I'll be needing all the help I can get. Every year on the land presents new challenges and always the unexpected. And I have a feeling that this year will be no different.
Did you put the knife back on?
My name is Matthew Evans. I used to be a food critic living in Sydney. Now, I'm a pig farmer in country Tasmania. We've just bought a new farm, Fat Pig Farm, and a new dream has surfaced. We want people to meet our animals and pick and taste our homegrown food. But that means one almighty makeover to deliver a farm-to-plate experience. From hobby farm to family business, how hard can it be? Despite Sadie and my best efforts, Little Puggle Farm is barely making ends meet. But an opportunity to purchase another parcel of land may be just the thing we need to ensure our future remains as rosy as my handsome confidants, the pigs.
Puggle Farm has been a brilliant place to live, and we've done really well. A lot of pigs, but really it doesn't actually work as a commercial operation. It barely feeds us, and it certainly doesn't produce a surplus that we can sell at the market. We've got a whole area of south-facing bush, good for pigs if in summer if it doesn't rain. Last summer it was record rain. We've got a flat area, gets really swampy in winter, and there's only a little bit of this side of the hill that faces north that grows good pasture. The pigs have decimated the paddock up through here. Now they're really hard on the landscape, and while we've tried to rotate them around, we've never been able to give this land enough of a rest to get it to come back. And right now it's actually run out of grass, and I don't feel very good about that, and I reckon the pigs would like a little bit of fresh stuff to get into as well. So what we've decided to do is upscale, take this whole operation, all the animals, and move them to another piece of land where it grows really good grass, where there's lots of north-facing paddocks, and where there's room to actually manage the animals properly.
Buying a new farm is a huge commitment, but one that needed to be made to give us the best chance of building on what we already have.
Have a look at that. There it is. Look at the view. I don't know, this feels like a proper farm. I just love it.
It'll take a lot of pigs to overgraze that land. It makes Puggle's 10 usable acres look pretty insignificant by comparison.
This is it. And we've already got a name for it, Fat Pig Farm. And exciting as it is, I think it's actually a little bit daunting too. It's about 70 acres, 10 minutes from the old place. We're still living over there, there's no farmhouse here, but this is where we're actually going to do most of our farming from now on. This place is brilliant. There's grass everywhere. The one thing we didn't manage to do very well at the old place was grow much grass. This place, whole valley full of it.
And the property has some bloody brilliant features. A stand of tall timber to mill.
We might be able to mill it up into usable planks and build stuff.
My own private fishing hole.
If you didn't have an outlet, you could fill it with trout.
Even a hay barn. And in the southern corner, an apple orchard.
They haven't been pruned for a few years, so they're messy as hell.
But I might get my apple mate Bob over to take a look. And a charming little shack that's just crying out for a little investigation.
I thought that this might be a good little place to have, farm workers stay occasionally, but I think it's a bit grim for that.
But maybe it just needs a little furniture.
Oh, that's all right.
But from the top of the hill, you really get an idea of the amount of work it's going to take to get this place rolling.
The scale of this place is absolutely terrifying. From the green bit down there, 1 kilometre all the way up through those trees, and then 300 metres across.
And walking around, I can already imagine what it could be. I'd love to have a dairy, maybe 3 or 4 cows, and build a smoker so I can actually smoke my own bacon here. A hanging room for salami and prosciutto, and a huge veggie garden, all integrated and happening on one site, making a real commercial venture. But turning the dream into a reality will require quite a bit of elbow grease. First is convincing a litter of pigs to pack up and move house. But getting them on the trailer is going to take a little coaxing. Luckily, my good mate Phil is on duty to lend a hand.
Pig, pig, pig. Pig, pig, pig.
And Headley's not the only one who's sad to see them go. A scenic country drive, and then repeat the process at the other end.
It's a long jump, I know.
A final bit of coaxing for the odd stray.
Lost one into the big paddock.
Then just add water, and they're as happy as pigs in. I'm pretty sure that's mud.
So the idea is that the pigs actually do a bit of turning over of the ground. Where they wallow won't be particularly flash, but where they actually dig a little bit, trample all this grass in, it's going to make the ground more fertile. So we're using the pigs as a bit of a labour-saving device in that sense.
By mid-afternoon, we've managed to move most of the pigs. And with one job left to do for the day, it's time to call in the heavy artillery. Nick and Ross have yet to see the new farm and are popping over for a quick tour and to lend a welcome hand.
Yeah.
This will be the veggie garden.
Yeah.
This is the pig paddocks, but we're not quite finished setting them up. It's like a real farm. Yeah, I know, it's scary, isn't it?
The boys and I are set to work on a new pig shelter. A simple corrugated roof.
Wow. That's about it, a bit too far.
And walls of insulating hay.
I'll check for snakes if you like.
It'll help keep them cosy through the winter and offer some shade from the sun, as well as shelter them from wind which can howl up the valley.
That goes in like that.
Go into that corner.
And with a nose for everyone else's business, they're climbing over each other to check out the specs before it passes council. And who better to check it out first than the owner-builder himself?
Not bad.
It doesn't look too bad in there, mate. You look pretty comfortable.
I've slept in worse places, especially when I was backpacking around Europe. This is pretty comfy.
Nick and Ross have developed quite a talent for picking the easy jobs.
Pig Hilton's finished, boys.
I'm not quite sure how to break it to them, that next week they're going to be assisting with 4 mile of new fencing.
1, 2, 3. Go.
Wow.
This is my old stomping ground, Salamanca. I've had a market stall here for a couple of years, but Nick persuaded me to set up a more permanent home here at the Salamanca Arts Centre. He's actually done a really schmick job. It's actually quite smart. It's more him than me. But the good news for me is that, 1, it's out of the weather, and 2, I can still stuff from the farm here every day of the week.
The fit-out and associated startup have cost Nick and I a pretty penny. So on top of the new farm, the pressure is really on to make it work.
What we've done, we've crammed this little space under the stairs with artisan produce from around Tasmania, all things that sort of follow the same philosophy that we do. Oh, look at that. Are we allowed to eat this?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We're never going to make any money if we eat all of that.
No.
But we'll live well. The idea with the shop is actually that the whole place matches our philosophy, which is, I guess, that things not only taste good, but there's some sort of story behind them, that they're, generally come from very small businesses, that things are unusual. They're very specific to either a producer or to Tasmania. And it's actually quite hard to keep suppliers up because we're dealing with lots and lots of small businesses who are about as disorganised as we are and who only have very small, limited supply. We're always up against keeping the shelves full.
My ultimate dream is to stock even more products from my farm and Nick's cheesery. But in the meantime, we have to pay the rent.
Thanks a lot. See you.
So to source some new products quickly, I've put the word out to all the growers and friends who have helped me out in the past.
Okay, let's go and see what's done.
Last year, my friend Christina showed me a Serbian offal recipe that looked a little less than appetising.
A bit frightened of eating that much liver and heart and lungs in one dumpling.
She has offered to pop over again, this time with a sour cherry strudel that she promises will have my mouth watering.
See, I remember 3 kisses, Serbian way.
Serbian way, yes.
And that's them.
And that's cherries, they're Kentish cherries.
The mythical, almost mythical sour cherry.
As far as we know, they're only grown on a single commercial farm in Tassie, and these cherries are integral to Christina's butterless strudel. But first, they need to be pipped, and by hand.
Straight through where the stem went in.
Yes. it doesn't damage the cherries as much.
Doing this in Serbia, would this be a family thing where you'd all just sit around pitting and gossiping and stuff?
Yeah, something like that.
400 pips later, and it's time to roll out the shop-bought phyllo. This recipe is unique in that it uses sugar and rice bran oil instead of butter to produce a crispy pastry. So the sweetness is just coming from the sugar between the pastry layers. See, I would never ever have known to make strudel like this. I'd have used butter between the layers.
The second one, I put slightly off-centre, and you'll see why.
Several layers later, place the sour cherries gently onto the phyllo. Sprinkle on a little semolina. Then it's simply a matter of folding in the sides to contain the filling and rolling the lot up.
Put that on the tray.
And with the cooker firing at 180 degrees, it's time to hit the oven. The left-hand side's a bit warmer.
Yeah, that's all right.
Rightio. And like Serbian magic, 20 minutes later, they're done. They're looking good. Oh, they look great. Amazing looking.
Yeah, it's perfect. Good colour, and also it's firm when you press here. So
Crisp right through.
Crisp, yes.
Look at that. The smell. Sour cherries have this very distinct aroma. And above the smell of golden pastry, you're getting this lovely sweet smell of the cherries. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Go.
Wow.
It's just incredible. A flaky, golden, crisp top. But it's not overly sweet, and then the sourness, but the robustness, the flavour of the cherries is just great.
Happy with it?
More than happy. I'm ecstatic with that. No wonder I keep inviting you back.
And compared to Christina's heart and lung dumplings, well, give me a cherry strudel every time. The strudel was sensational, and it's given me an idea of how to make use of those amazing cherries that might just suit the shop perfectly. I'm just off to pick up Mary Walker. Now, Mary is the legendary local preserve maker. Jams, pickled cherries, all sorts of stuff. It's those sour cherries, I know of an orchard that has trees loaded with them. I can't wait to see what Mary can come up with using those. I'm sure she'll come up with something magnificent, no doubt. And it's a pretty drive hugging the coast through Snugglepot Bay, all the way to Middleton where I grabbed Mary. Hey Mary, nice to see you. Thanks for this.
You coming?
Yeah, let's go in my car.
Okay.
I brought the ute, just in case we really load up. 45 minutes down the road and we make it to Wolf Brothers Orchard, where Tony and Malcolm's family have been growing stone fruit in idyllic surroundings for more than 100 years.
Good. Thanks for this.
That's good.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Nice
Good to see you,
Mary.
Tony.
I just love your place. You don't know this is up here when you're driving up the road. The way you come over around the corner and you suddenly see the little rolling
It just
hills.
opens out like a book.
It does, doesn't it?
We've timed our visit just right, with the season in full bloom.
I'll just head into the shed and get a picking tin and a bucket, and we'll go and have a look. There we go.
For me,
You just put it around the waist and just click it up like a seatbelt.
like a seatbelt.
Yeah.
No worries.
What you do is you hold them up into the sun. You see light, well, you know that that's the one you don't get, because once your raspberries go in there, the dribbles all down your front. The yellow brick road's up here somewhere.
Unlike more common sweet cherries, the Kentish cherry is small and sharp and lends itself to pickling with vinegar, or it's great in old-style jams.
A reasonable crop this year.
Glossy, aren't they?
Yeah, very glossy.
Very beautiful.
They're like a cartoon cherry or something.
Yeah. So there's a couple of ways of picking the cherry. Grab the branch like that, grab the stem, we can flick it like that. The cherry will keep for approximately a week once it's picked on the stem. If you tick it without the stem, which I'll just show you now, you just pull that stem there, see how it bleeds? Well, once it starts bleeding, well, it goes brown, you see. Now, you've probably found the odd green one. Pick that as well, because as Mary will tell you, that it's got a higher pectin level. The jam will set much better without having to use anything else.
I see why they're called sour cherries.
Yeah. They are a lovely cherry. They're now coming back into popularity because people are realising, rather than sweet things all the time.
So these are very small cherry compared to the cherries you'd buy commercially usually. Glossy red, almost like you expect cherries to look if you've only ever seen drawings of them.
I don't think they're as fragrant as some of the sweet cherries, but it's much more complex. You can taste almost like roasted almond and things like that in there. It's almost a slight bitterness, which is, rather than being unattractive, it's almost a mouth-watering flavour. Yeah, good. Tell me what you reckon we could do with these, Mary.
Well, I think we should try spicing them. Because they're sour, they're quite different from the spiced cherry we normally make.
What I love is the idea of having something completely unique.
Yeah,
Something
and very Tasmanian.
very Tasmanian, you know, where we know the grower and it's only for sale from one place.
We'll get enough to try it and see whether it's worth doing more next season.
Next year. Look at this fantastic bucket of sour cherries, Kentish cherries from Kent in the UK. Only available from one farm in Tasmania that we know of. Once I get Mary onto it, she'll be able to make something magnificent. I don't eat them all in the meantime. Back in the processing shed, and we're all bagged up and ready to roll.
Might make it 200, be easy.
200? There you go, easy.
Yeah.
Fantastic. These sour cherries certainly don't come cheap. And I'm counting on Mary's knowledge to come up with a product for the shop that's really going to wow our customers. And Nick's keen to be on hand to watch Mary work her magic.
G'day.
Hello, Nick.
How are you?
Good.
Hello, mate.
How are you going?
Good.
This is the goods.
Oh, these are the Kentish cherries.
Yeah, pick these all.
Aren't they a beautiful colour?
The wolves, yeah, amazing. Do you want to carry one in?
Yep,
Or
we're going to transform these.
They're gorgeous.
transform them from something gorgeous into something beautiful?
All right. What's the go?
What's the go? What's the go is we're going to convert these beautiful cherries into some spiced or pickled cherries.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do here is make a pickle. Now, Matthew, maybe you could grate some of this ginger.
All right.
We'll need about 20 grams.
And as I get grating, Nick measures out equal parts cherries and white sugar. In the pot we've got cinnamon, cloves, the sugar. I'm going to put some freshly grated ginger in there. I love Mary, she didn't peel the ginger at all. Vinegar, red wine vinegar. That gets boiled up on the stove. Stir for a few minutes to allow the sugar to dissolve before adding the cherries to the pot. And then it's back on the stove to gently simmer for about 20 minutes. I keep thinking they look like marbles from when I was growing up.
And so you had posh marbles?
No, I never saw anything like that, but if I could have got them. And in no time, they're ready for bottling. They need to go in the jars hot, so they actually keep the jars sterile and sterilise the jar and the lid. So we're working reasonably fast. Then Nick's topping them up with syrup, and Mary's putting the lid on.
Well done.
Perfect. What's the story with these now?
I think they need at least a fortnight maturing, and then the flavours will meld well together.
To me, this product suits the shop because it's the old-fashioned flavour.
Yes.
It's not gone out of favour because it tasted horrible. It's because the circumstances have changed, because the way we eat cherries and the way we cook cherries has changed.
Yeah.
But this, as a cherry that's preserved, I think is a knockout product.
And it looks to me like they're a Jeeves and Fanny.
Jeeves and Fanny.
Yeah, Jeeves and Fanny.
I love that name. Back at the shop in Hobart, Mary's arriving with a trial run of the spiced cherries, ready to sample. Morning.
Here
How are
they
you?
are.
How are you?
You've got them.
Yes,
This is them.
matured,
Oh, this is exciting.
You're
Glowing.
confident. You brought in a whole bunch.
glowing, beautiful.
So we have to crack one of these.
Yeah, whatever.
Here we go.
Moment of truth.
They've lost a lot of colour out of the skin, but it's
But-
gone into that
yes.
beautiful juice.
Yeah.
Have you tried them?
Yes, thank you. But not since they've been as well matured as these
Oh,
are.
okay.
Aren't they delicate compared to the
The big black ones.
big ones? Oh, wow.
They're good.
Oh, they're really good.
Didn't we do well?
Oh,
Fantastic.
have another one.
But really, it is that almond flavour that comes through.
Yeah.
They're
It's a
superb.
really balanced, well-rounded. There's no sharp edge of the vinegar.
I don't think we're going to have any trouble selling 72 jars. Well,
71.
71 now. They'd go really well with some of the stronger cheeses, I think.
I reckon they will walk out the door. Pipped, pickled and preserved. They hit the shelves. And at $15 a jar, let's hope they're a winner. In the apple aisle, apple exports were once big business, until the introduction of cold storage in the 1950s wiped out European demand. And a reminder of that industry remains in a corner of my new farm. It's been a long time between drinks for these fellas, but maybe with a bit of love we can produce some apple sauce or cider vinegar to stock on the shelves of the new shop.
All the valleys around here used to be covered with orchard. There's only one little remnant left on the property when I bought it, and it's this apple orchard. I don't know whether these trees are any good. I don't know if the fruit's any good for eating or for cider or for what. So what I've done is invited Bob Magnus over, the local apple guru. Hopefully he'll be able to identify the trees and the fruit, see if they're any good. Hey Bob.
G'day, Matthew.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, good to be here.
Thanks for this.
When it comes to apples, Bob's the man, having grown them commercially for over 40 years.
I've got a problem with my orchard, but I hope you'll be able to help me with identifying these trees, and all seem to be growing one variety, and you know, all sorts of spots on them. And
You can see what they are there. They're an old strain of Red Delicious.
so they're an okay eating apple.
Oh, if you leave them to ripen, they're very sweet.
The tree's actually salvageable.
Oh, I think definitely you could either just prune them back and keep them as Red Delicious,
Right.
or you could skeletonise them and cut them down and rework them to some more interesting varieties. But the best thing is you could have trees that start at the beginning of January, the first fruit.
Yep.
And you could have 7 months of apples instead of this one variety that goes zack and you've got them already at
One time. You can get 7 months if you stagger the varieties.
Reworking means a completely new variety can be grafted onto a mature tree, replacing the existing variety.
Well, each tree tells a story, and by looking at the bark and the way the things are made. This is the original rootstock here, that part that's in the ground. It was grafted to a variety that's here, and that became a tree, and that was probably an orchard tree for many years, and at some stage or another, the status quo decided that they had to change varieties, and they reworked the trees here, and here, and here, and there, to Red Delicious, and so that's what they are today.
Which means that with some careful planning, these trees can grow any variety I want.
Over here, Bob, there's actually a couple of trees that are different.
Yeah, they're very different, and they've got a different shape, and they've got a lot more fruit on them.
Yeah, everything.
And it looks to me like they're a Jeeveston Fanny.
Jeeveston Fanny.
Yeah, Jeeveston Fanny.
I love that name.
A man called James Evans named it after his wife called Fanny.
Oh, there you go.
So, and it was called the Jeeveston
And
Fanny.
Evans.
And now, knowing the Evans family connection, they're definitely worth a taste.
Hard skin, Bob.
Yeah, hard skin.
That's delicious.
And as well as the Jeeveston Fannies, Bob's keen apple eye has spotted an even more unusual variety, hiding among a stringy stand of delicious.
Might be a new variety they call Matthew's apple.
And it's a tasty little number.
How is it?
I like that. That's nice.
Very spicy. Make good juice, make good cider. You might find that you'll rework half the trees over there to this one.
And that opens up all sorts of possibilities.
The potential is to resurrect this orchard and actually graft it over to a whole bunch of interesting tasting apples. The best thing for me to do now is actually go and eat apples, find out the ones that I like the flavour of, and find out what I should put on Fat Pig Farm.
How incredible that these trees could grow a modest crop of fruit for most months of the year. But like everything on the farm, the Evans family orchard will need quite a bit of manpower and expense to reach its full potential. With all these fat pig plans ahead of us, Sadie, as keeper of the books, wants some hard numbers.
The thing that I'm a little bit worried about is what we didn't realise when we first did all our calculations was how long stuff would take in terms of getting the infrastructure and getting things up and running and actually getting a proper income. So in terms of our priorities, what do we need to do?
The thing is, we've got plenty of grass, and we're
Yeah.
not going to be able to use that using the animals we've got. So we actually have to gear up. We need to increase stock numbers, maybe get some meat birds. I like to have a dairy. And to justify it, we'd actually need to get a few dairy animals.
And a polytunnel just to extend the growing
We
season.
might be able to bridge that gap, the hungry
patch.
patch. Yeah.
Yep.
But no one will go hungry tonight because I've put the Jeeveston Fannies to the test
This looks fantastic.
in a homemade applesauce to accompany a puggle pork roast with the crispiest crackling I've ever seen.
It's crackled up pretty well.
If I do say so myself. And what's a Sunday roast without homegrown spuds and pumpkin?
There you go.
Yumbo scrumbo.
There it is.
Yum.
Apple sauce using Jeeveston Fanny. Tastes good.
Can we have a deadline? I just kind of feel like I need to have something to work towards so that I can work out the finances.
I reckon a year. I think it'd be too hard to do it before that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's stuck somewhere between really, really excited and really, really sick.
I'm pretty excited. Oh, great. Why don't we just do crackling?
Just do crackling.
Crackling sandwiches.
Most nights about this time, I usually wander out for a chat with the pigs. But tonight their pens are silent because they've taken up new lodgings at Fat Pig Farm.
The new farm is huge, probably bigger than we were looking for, and a bit further away than we were looking for. So I guess the responsibility is weighing pretty heavily on us. There's a lot of sleepless nights, Sadie and I, knowing that we're taking on a piece of land that we don't currently have the skills to manage. When I moved to Puggle Farm, that was a challenge because I had never farmed before, but this is, I guess, going to the next level, trying to make a commercial operation as a complete novice. I mean, really, what I've learned is nothing compared to the knowledge of proper farmers. I've got enormous amounts yet to learn.
And it's going to take quite a bit of getting used to. No pigs on Puggle.
There's a big responsibility on you. I'm really hoping that you're going to tell me this is a great place to grow things, because if it's not, I'm buggered.
So this type of soil would tend to feed weeds.
So that's not good news then. Not if you want to grow something.
Correct.
It's great if you don't want to grow anything, you've got the perfect soil. What I'm trying to do with the timing is get these guys ready for the pot at the same time as the heritage breeds. Oh, I think you must have swapped beds, because this is what came out of my bed.